indemnify the village from any liability or damage that's threatened against the village because of the snow plowing activity. I think we need to have some kind of basic accounting mechanism to make sure that when the village provides reimbursement for the snow plowing, we have some officer, someone certifying that the money was properly applied to the payment of the snow plowing contract. I think there needs to be some kind of basic accountability. That's the kind of provisions I see going into this agreement. We'll be working on it, assuming that the petitions come in favor of the amendment. That kind of pretty much explains what the purpose of the amendment is. I think the process that we'll be going through, and if the board members have any questions, and otherwise it's up to the residents here. If you have any questions or want to make any comments, this would be the time to do that here at this hearing.
Any questions from the board?
I'd like to know why the...
State your name.
My name is Joel Haber. I live at 2750 Sunset Trail. I'm a little perturbed and unhappy with the fact that the ordinance is not going to include the shoulder repair and the tree trim, which we thought was very important, and it's been lax, and it's terrible around that the Hiawatha Woods area. It desperately needs the repairs and the tree trim.
Well, the ordinance, as it proposed these services, said that it could provide one or all of these services depending on what's provided in the agreement with the association. So my original preference was to have a wider menu of possible services that the village could agree to reimburse, and then have it be something that we address annually in this agreement with the association.
I suggest you take it up with your board.
Was
I
that
mean, we'll put in whatever your board wants.
I never received notice that there was any discussion of any board hearing there.
So I didn't register to comment, but
State your name, please.
my Warren Sublicek, I'm the treasurer of the association. The problem with the tree trimming was that we had such a difference around the neighborhoods as to the condition of the trees. Some places are open, some places are not. And we didn't know how we were going to reasonably administer that. I think that gets to be an individual problem. As to the shoulder repair, don't know what that means, but we don't, if we don't have it in the ordinance, we can still do it, provided that the association wants to do it, wants to budget for it in their regular budget, and I suspect that's where it ought to go, because it's hard to sell something that you can't define, and I can't define it. Now, the other comment was that there's, I actually ran all the assessed valuations. It's just under 10 million, so it's closer to 22,000 than 20,000, and there's adequate money there.
I'm glad you double checked for me. I just did a quick eyeball of it. Pat Glenn is our village engineer. The funny thing is that in the original ordinance, the ordinance that we have, the existing ordinance that we have right now, among the routine maintenance that we provide is proper repair, but the ordinance specifically excludes shoulder restoration. Part of the reason was because we didn't do extensive drainage, subsurface drainage improvements with the street. And maybe, Pat, you could speak to what shoulder repair restoration would be. And
my recollection from when we were discussing this with the residents was that shoulder issues were kind of a hot button in the neighborhood. And they are village-wide. People have strong feelings one way or the other about having shoulders. I remember there was a lot of concern about limestone shoulders and the screenings and such, the effect that might have on the trees. And just through all the discussion we had, it was determined that we didn't want to do anything with the shoulders and stick. Really, we were sticking straight between the edges of pavement and the culverts across the road, and that was the full limit of the work that the residents wanted done.
And if we were going to do work, it would involve bringing in some kind of material to basically, when there's potholes in the shoulders, bring them up or
Yeah, I mean, because we didn't overlay, but it wasn't a significant grade change. There wasn't a lot of work that needed to be done to transition back to the edge of pavement. So we didn't have to do shoulder work to pave the gravel roads that were out there. It's certainly something that's doable. Part of the work we're doing up in Indian Trails this year is installing a recycled asphalt shoulder, basically the grindings, the black asphalt shoulders. I mean, if the association determined that they wanted to establish shoulders along the roads, I think it'd be a little disruptive in some of the places. The vegetation's right up to the edge of pavement out there, but that's well within the the services that we could add into what we do. I haven't heard real hue and cry personally to create shoulders out there, but if that's the direction the association wants to go, we certainly can include that.
Well, that's probably why we left it out back in 2002. It was just, it would have added to the cost, and there were issues about what kind of material to use back then. And
And there were strong feelings.
the key question back then was, can we just get the gravel road paved? And so I think that's what we looked
Yeah,
at.
it was important that we have, get some paving in there. Any other questions from the board, from the audience? Yes, sir. Steve?
I'm Cameron Thompson at 1010 Blackhawk. Just for further clarification, Mr. Haber, at least speaking for myself, my concern had to do with our initial purpose for wanting to amend the ordinance was that we found that we could, didn't know that we could before that. And our concern was that we'd be able to fairly distribute the cost of snow plowing to all the participants in the SSA, which we've never been able to do before. I didn't anticipate there being language about tree trimming and shoulder reconstruction, and when I tried to understand what that constituted, who makes the decision about what shoulder needs to be reconstructed, and the materials done, and whether or not shoulders are put in, makes me a little nervous. Same thing with the tree trimming. That whole area has vegetation that approaches the road, and there are strong feelings about whether or not it ought to be trimmed and how much. So when that language showed up, there wasn't any explanation about who makes the decision the trees need to be trimmed, who shows up to do it, how much do they take, does the homeowner have any input into the process? So that for the purpose of simplicity, I didn't want that included in the ordinance.
Any other comments?
Linda Dunn, 2920 Orangeberry Road. I have a question just about the ordinance. And it has to do with the Vernon Woods Owners Association. If you do it, it is an ad valorem tax,
Yes.
so people pay according to their assessed valuation.
Yes,
And any other association can do this.
any special service areas.
But I mean, any other association can come before the board and request one.
Absolutely.
It's a standard SSA allocation of the cost.
Okay, just clearing it up.
There's a motion that the public hearing be closed.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Thank you very much. You can stay for the meeting, but.
You did last night, actually, it's just another thing.
May you come to order? Now, Linda. That's pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Haver,
Here.
Nugent,
Here.
Masterson,
Here.
Bobbit,
Here.
Chamberlain, Redditor.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of minutes of May 19, 2009.
So moved. Second.
Any additions or corrections?
Page 3,
Yes, sir.
fifth paragraph.
Wait, could you just go a little slow?
Pardon?
Can I go a little slow?
That's what she was taking.
I know, but you still got to go a little slow, it's the first time.